The girl wearing a crown is a top-tier dancer at one of Russia's most prestigious theaters. With her elegant figure, she attracts a swarm of wealthy and influential admirers every single day. But this girl, Dominica, only has one thing on her mind: dancing. Why? Because her mother's leg is severely ill, and Dominica's only hope to provide for her is through the theater's free physical therapy and housing. But as we all know, life doesn't always play fair. While Dominica was performing on stage, doing what she loved, disaster struck. Her dance partner accidentally stepped on her leg, snapping it in an instant. When Dominica finally opened her eyes, she found herself lying in a hospital bed. Her leg was held together by cold, unforgiving metal pins, evidence of the surgery she had just undergone. In that moment, she realized something that shattered her world: her dancing career was over. Fast forward 3 months. Dominica was finally discharged, able to walk again, but everything had changed. Returning home, she was shocked to find an unexpected guest, her uncle Ivan, who had come to visit. He was the deputy director of the intelligence agency and rarely had time to make personal visits, given the nature of his high-stakes job. After Dominica made tea for Ivan, he casually offered his help with her work before leaving, but not before leaving behind a mysterious document. Once Ivan was gone, Dominica couldn't resist. She rushed to her room to check what was inside. What she found sent a chill down her spine. A tape recorder and a stack of photos. The tape recorder revealed a shocking conversation between her male dance partner and a female dancer, one who was clearly after her position. The plan? To seduce the partner and orchestrate the leg-breaking accident to steal Dominica's place in the spotlight. Fueled by fury, Dominica stormed into the theater, hunting down the couple. She found them in the bathroom and, without hesitation, attacked them with a stick. Panic set in as she realized the severity of her actions. She ran out of the theater in a blur, dialing an ambulance in a frantic attempt to avoid something worse. But her nightmare didn't end there. Returning home, Dominica found her mother writhing in pain on the floor. The shock grew even deeper when she learned that the conservatory had stopped paying, meaning the nanny who cared for her mother had vanished without a trace. Desperate to care for her mother and stay in the city, Dominica made up her mind to seek out her uncle Ivan for help. But she quickly realized that Ivan, a master manipulator in the Russian intelligence agency, didn't offer help without a price, not even for his own niece. If she wanted anything from him, she'd have to return the favor first. Ivan's request was simple, but dark. He instructed Dominica to meet him at a high-end hotel at 9 p.m. on Friday. There, she was to take a bath, slip into a specially prepared dress, and position herself in the most conspicuous spot in the hotel bar, ready to catch the eye of the powerful tycoon, Dmitri. Dominica nervously started a conversation with Dmitri, leading him up to his hotel room. Her plan was simple: take advantage of his distractions to swap his phone. But things took a sharp turn when Dmitri grew unexpectedly rough with her. Just as he was about to cross the line, a figure in a helmet emerged from the shadows. Without a word, the assassin silently crept behind Dmitri, using a wire to strangle him into submission. Dominica froze in terror, too stunned to resist as the assassin gave her cold, firm instructions. The assassin, calm and precise, used a silenced gun to shoot the door lock, then led Dominica down to the garage. After quickly dealing with a bodyguard, he whisked her away on a motorcycle, taking her to a hidden room in the depths of the hotel. Once they arrived, the assassin removed his helmet, revealing the face beneath, and it was someone she never expected. Just then, Ivan walked into the room. But he wasn't the same person Dominica had known. He was cold, detached, and ruthlessly calculating. He wasted no time, laying out her grim choices. Because she had seen the assassin in action and recognized his face, Dominica had only 2 options. 1. Undergo professional training to become a Russian spy. The other, lose her life right there and then. It was a choice no one should ever have to make, but it was clear which path Dominica had to take. She had no choice but to agree to the first option. Before she left for her training, Dominica made one final trip home to say goodbye to her mother. Her mother, weak but wise, offered one last crucial piece of advice: with Ivan, you must always protect yourself, never block all your escape routes. As the car carrying Dominica drove along a snow-covered highway, she couldn't shake the feeling that after this journey, her life would be irrevocably changed. There would be no turning back. Dominica found herself in a brutal, unforgiving land, the secret military school No. 4, tucked away in the harsh wilderness of Siberia. The first person to greet her was a stern female instructor, who handed her a copy of the school's strict rules. The first rule was clear: under no circumstances was she to reveal her real name or any personal details. In this place, every student was referred to as a sparrow, a nameless, faceless soldier. And they were all young men and women sent from every corner of the country, chosen for their potential. Among the most vital lessons they would learn was how to uncover an enemy's weaknesses and use them to gain the upper hand. Survival depended on it. The female lecturer brought Dominica and another male student to the front and instructed them to strip naked in front of the class when she had finished speaking. Dominica gazed at the female teacher in shock, but the teacher informed her that their bodies were national property from the time of their birth. They also had to sacrifice their values and dignity in order to repay the nation. Along with learning to abandon her dignity, Dominica was trained in a variety of dangerous skills, from shooting and lockpicking to tracking and survival tactics. As her uncle Ivan had predicted, Dominica proved to be a natural at espionage. She excelled in every subject, and while her talent set her apart, it also sparked envy and jealousy among the others. They couldn't stand seeing her always on top. One day, while Dominica was showering, a male student, naked and furious, suddenly shoved her against the wall. He had been nursing a grudge against her for some time and intended to use underhanded tactics to break her. But Dominica wasn't so easily subdued. With quick reflexes, she grabbed a steel squeegee and used it to knock him to the ground, showing him just how dangerous it was to underestimate her. The incident eventually led to the headmaster summoning Dominica to his office. But surprisingly, he didn't scold her for striking her classmate. But the female teacher didn't accept it. After calling Dominica, she called the male student she had defeated in class. She instructed Dominica to fulfill his deepest desires. Dominica was told to turn around by the opponent, but she refused. In front of him, she immediately stripped off all of her clothing. When he saw how honest Dominica was, he gave up on wanting to own her, pulled on his trousers and walked away like a failure. Dominica had actually noticed that this man desired power. The headmaster allowed this girl to graduate and sent her back to Russia because he believed she had perfected the ability of reading people's minds. Ivan's call arrived as soon as Dominica got home. After that, Dominica met Ivan in a restaurant. He assigned her first task. Nash, a US CIA spy, visited his informant in private in a Russian park a few months ago to provide intelligence. Just then, a patrol car of the police drove past. When Nash saw the informant cornered by a police car, he didn't hesitate. He drew his pistol and fired several shots into the air, instantly grabbing the attention of the officers. His quick thinking allowed him to rescue the informant. Nash sprinted straight to the US Embassy, where he finally found safety. After briefly returning to the US, Nash thought he was safe, until the Russian security agency tracked him down in Budapest, Europe. To uncover the identity of his informant, Ivan decided to send Dominica to get close to Nash. Dominica was reluctant to take on another spy mission, but Ivan made her an offer she couldn't refuse: complete this task, and he would set her free. With no other options, Dominica reluctantly headed to Budapest. There, she was assigned a room in the Russian Security Bureau's building. Her roommate was Marta, a seasoned senior spy. Having worked in the agency for years, Marta warned Dominica about the station chief, a lecherous old man she should be wary of when they met. As expected, Marta's warning proved true. The moment the station chief laid eyes on Dominica, his gaze lit up, and he immediately began looking for ways to get closer to her. But Dominica wasn't fazed by these lecherous advances. She had more important things on her mind. From the intel she gathered, Dominica learned that Nash swam every day. Determined to get closer to him, she spent the entire day following him from the swimming pool. That evening, she dyed her hair blonde, making herself unrecognizable. The next day, she signed up for a membership at the same pool. As she filled out her personal details, Dominica hesitated, torn between maintaining her cover and revealing her true identity. In the end, she couldn't hold back. She tore up the registration form with her fake name and wrote her real name instead, an act that would expose her to the enemy. Dominica, clad in a daring swimsuit, walked past Nash, deliberately drawing his attention. As she was leaving the pool, Nash called her back, catching her off guard. To her surprise, he revealed that he had noticed her the moment she arrived the day before. He even recognized that she had dyed her hair. It was clear now, Nash knew she had been deliberately trying to get close to him. With her heart racing, Dominica boarded the bus, her nerves on edge. But as the bus pulled away, a sly smile crept onto her face, a sign that she was in control of the game. The next day, Dominica returned to the swimming pool, expecting to see Nash, but he was nowhere in sight. When she went to return the key, the staff seemed confused, unable to find her registration form. It didn't take long for Dominica to realize what had happened. Nash had stolen her form, digging into her real identity. He had reported it to his superiors, and soon, they learned everything about her, that she was once a dancer and, more importantly, the granddaughter of the deputy director of the Russian security agency. But Nash wasn't done yet. He sensed something deeper behind her decision to use her real name, convinced she had hidden motives. With so many unanswered questions, Nash decided it was time to see if he could win this woman over. Marta couldn't shake her curiosity. Why would Dominica risk everything for this mission? Eventually, Dominica confided in her. She had seen the assassin working under Ivan before, a secret no one else could ever know. If the truth came to light, Dominica would be silenced. Yet, her secrecy unwittingly placed Marta's life in grave danger. After the storm had passed, Dominica went to the train station to buy a ticket to Vienna. Later, she stood outside a local bank, her eyes scanning the employees. She fixed her gaze on a young, inexperienced male worker, her next target. When the bank closed for the night, Dominica rushed in, pretending to open a new account. The same employee who had been locking up was her chosen one. With a seductive smile, she invited him for coffee to discuss account details, and, nervous as he was, he agreed. Meanwhile, Marta, still burning with resentment, met with the head of the intelligence station and betrayed Dominica's secret. That night, when Dominica returned to her Budapest apartment, Marta was gone. The bathroom door hung slightly open. Inside, Dominica was met with a chilling sight. The same assassin who had killed Dmitri was there. Marta had been brutally murdered. The assassin spared Dominica only because she was Ivan's granddaughter, but he left her with a deadly warning. If anyone else discovered he had killed Dmitri, Dominica would be next, and her body would join Marta's in the bathtub. The local police investigated the scene but found nothing of value. As a result, Dominica was released. Waiting for her at the police station was Nash. He had received a report from his team and now knew the truth. Dominica was a sparrow, a covert Russian spy. Nash confronted her, drawing a sharp comparison between the intelligence agencies of Russia and the US. He railed against the brutal treatment of Russian agents by their own government, attempting to persuade Dominica to defect and work for the CIA. He promised to protect her, just as he had done for his previous informants. Dominica, though wary, agreed to listen. Nash took her to a CIA safe house in Budapest, where 2 CIA officers were waiting. For security, they hooked her up to a lie detector and bombarded her with questions to test her loyalty. But Dominica was no ordinary recruit. She had been trained to beat lie detectors, and she passed with flying colors. Dominica set her terms. The CIA would transfer $30,000 to her Vienna account every month. The agents found her demands audacious, especially with no intelligence provided yet. That's when Dominica dropped a bombshell. She revealed that the US Senate Chief of Staff planned to sell missile secrets. The room went dead silent. The Americans now realized she wasn't bluffing. On the day of the exchange, Dominica arrived at a hotel in London. In her room lay $250,000 from Russian intelligence. Hidden in the desk was a fake disc from the CIA. She waited at the hotel bar for her target, Chief of Staff Stephanie. But to her surprise, Intelligence Station Chief Maxim showed up as well, claiming he had come to assist. Dominica, however, suspected he was sent by Ivan to keep an eye on her. Dominica quickly dismissed Maxim, then returned to meet Stephanie, who was immediately cautious when she saw Marta wasn't handling the deal. But Dominica had done her research. She knew Stephanie was in desperate need of money. Her persuasion worked like a charm, and Stephanie agreed to head up to the room. Once at the hotel, Stephanie handed over the disc, and Dominica began the delicate task of swapping it with a fake. Her hesitation raised Maxim's suspicions. Meanwhile, a CIA observer in the next room, sensing something was off, rang the bell, pretending to be hotel staff. Maxim stepped out to investigate, giving Dominica the time she needed to complete the swap. As Stephanie left the hotel, she noticed CIA agents tailing her. In a panic, she tossed the money into a trash bin and dashed across the street, only to be struck and killed by a truck. Russian agents observing the scene immediately reported it. Maxim, hearing the news, rushed Dominica to the airport. He informed her that the Russian agency director wanted to personally congratulate them on their success. However, when he requested her passport and phone, Dominica sensed something was wrong. She remained calm and collected. Meanwhile, Nash, now in possession of the disc, received news of Stephanie's death. Realizing Dominica's life was in jeopardy, he rushed to the airport. As he spotted her in the security line, their eyes met. Dominica subtly signaled him to stay back. Back in Russia, Dominica was dragged into an interrogation chamber, where she was accused of leaking secrets to the Americans. Despite the accusations, she denied everything. Ivan, ruthless as ever, ordered torture. Dominica was stripped, soaked in freezing cold water, and beaten relentlessly. Yet, she refused to speak. They then showed her a video. Maxim had been executed. The image of his lifeless body flashed before her eyes, and a gun was pressed to her head. The trigger was pulled, but the gun clicked empty. To her shock, Ivan appeared, demanding the truth. With a deep breath, Dominica confessed, her voice steady despite the pain. She explained that everything she had done was a ploy to win the trust of the Americans and complete her mission. Ivan's face softened, as it dawned on him that she had adhered to the very principles they had taught the sparrows. Reluctantly, he released her. Later, Ivan reported to the director and the headmaster, but they were suspicious. They warned Ivan that if Dominica betrayed them, he would be held accountable. Ivan assured them that he would eliminate her himself if necessary. Meanwhile, Dominica returned to Nash in Budapest. She knew Nash would never betray his informant, which meant she was in grave danger. Desperate for protection, and more money, she demanded $250,000 be transferred to her account. Reluctantly, Nash agreed. But one morning, Dominica woke up alone. In the kitchen, she found the assassin strangling Nash. Quick on her feet, Dominica pretended to cooperate. She tied Nash's hands and even helped the assassin hold him down as he prepared surgical tools used to peel skin from burned victims. But in the back of her mind, Dominica was biding her time. When the assassin let his guard down, she seized her opportunity. A brutal fight broke out. She slashed his tendons, incapacitating him. In the end, she killed him. Dominica woke up in a hospital bed, her body mostly unscathed, but her future uncertain. Killing the assassin meant she was now fully exposed. The headmaster appeared, much to Dominica's surprise. She had assumed he had come to kill her, but instead, he revealed a secret. Years ago, his wife had died of cancer, and Russia had denied her access to an American doctor. That betrayal had made him switch sides. He confessed that he had been the informant all along. Dominica woke up in a hospital bed, her body mostly unscathed, but her future uncertain. Killing the assassin meant she was now fully exposed. The headmaster appeared, much to Dominica's surprise. She had assumed he had come to kill her, but instead, he revealed a secret. Years ago, his wife had died of cancer, and Russia had denied her access to an American doctor. That betrayal had made him switch sides. He confessed that he had been the informant all along. But now, he was tired. He saw potential in Dominica and offered her a way out. He would give her his position if she turned him in. Dominica agreed to his offer. She surrendered herself to the police, demanding a meeting with the Russian embassy. She requested to speak with the director of the Russian security agency, offering the informant's name in exchange for her life. Meanwhile, back at his home, the headmaster waited silently with his door unlocked, awaiting arrest. At the airport, Dominica was handed over to the CIA. Nash stood there, watching with disappointment as Dominica walked toward him. But then, a Russian helicopter arrived, carrying the person to be exchanged. When the hood was removed, it wasn't the headmaster, it was Ivan. Dominica had tricked everyone. As the director followed up on Dominica's tip, he uncovered damning evidence: a wine glass at Ivan's home, a secret Vienna bank account, and CIA funds funneled into it. The disc Ivan had retrieved also traced back to Vienna, further implicating him in treasonous activities. With the evidence mounting, Ivan whispered his last words to Dominica, a final exchange between them. He began to walk toward the Americans, presumably ready to face his fate. But before he could cross the line, Russian snipers, hidden in the distance, took him out with a clean shot to the head. Dominica was flown back to Russia, greeted as a hero. The crowd below cheered for her, hailing her as the one who had brought down the traitor. Among the onlookers, the headmaster clapped, proud to see the woman who had taken his place in such an unforgiving world. And just like that, Dominica, once a dancer, a pawn in the spy game, became the new head of Russian intelligence, commanding the very system that had nearly destroyed her.